Marilyn Manson abruptly ends an interview with Metal Hammer after they asked about allegations reportedly made against him by actress Evan Rachel Wood. Now, if you aren't familiar with those allegations, here's a little bit of what she said in front of the California Senate, speaking as an advocate for the Phoenix Act.
When I was a teenager, I met a man. I looked up to him in many ways and felt like we had a special bond, and I had no intention of it turning into something romantic. When it eventually did, I wasn't sure how to stop it, as he had a certain charisma and power, and I quickly surrendered to his charms. In the beginning, he treated me like a princess. I was smart, but a smart 18-year-old is still an 18-year-old, and I thought I had fell in love. It wasn't until much later that I realized everything he had told me was a lie and part of what is called the grooming process. He'd hidden a terrible drug and alcohol problem from me. He moved very fast in the relationship, asking me to move in with him almost immediately. There was a certain way he wanted me to look, otherwise I would endure name-calling and ridicule. He cut me off from my close friends and family one by one by exhibiting rage in some form or another when I was in contact with them. The only way I knew how to calm him was to give him what he wanted, which was me all to himself in total isolation. He had bouts of extreme jealousy, which would often result in him wrecking our home, cornering me in a room, and threatening me. I witnessed my abuser threatening people with force or legal action if he worried they would expose him. He bragged about being able to have people killed because he was allegedly friends with multiple gangs, and I watched him illegally collect data on people that he could use as blackmail. By the time I realized I was in a bad situation, I felt completely trapped and terrified for my life. He gifted me a cell phone, which I found out he was monitoring. He downloaded spyware onto my computer and hacked into my emails and social media accounts so I could not reach out for help. When my friends and family tried to intervene, I swiftly told them to leave because I was afraid of what he would do.
It's worth noting that Evan Rachel Wood does not specifically name Marilyn Manson in those allegations, though she was in a relationship with him when she was 18 years old. So here it is. Metal Hammer spoke to Marilyn Manson for their new edition, which is available now for pre-order. And they say it didn't go well, and it's published in their next issue. The agenda was, as you might expect, we were calling to discuss his new album, Life in a Pandemic, the general horror show of 2020, but there were a few other things we wanted to discuss too. A bit of context, Marilyn Manson has built a career from treading the lines between the acceptable and the obscene. He relished his image as America's premier boogeyman as his fame peaked in the late 90s, goading concerned conservatives in America with the promise that he was going to upend a polite society and enjoy every second doing it. In the late 90s, that stuff washed. Outlier icons still felt exciting with legions of eyeliner-clad teens, and Marilyn Manson's particular brand of devil-may-care nihilism was perfectly pitched. Good old-fashioned sticking it to the man punk rock spirit was given a PVC-clad upgrade, and a nice... In a place of teen angst or fury was a cold, sneering disregard for the world and its rules. He gleefully touted hedonism and controversy. Back then, honestly, it was quite exhilarating. So they go on to talk about the Me Too movement and cancel culture, and they say that it's forced global conversations about what's acceptable and what isn't with the industry and beyond. So it says, where does Manson come into all of this? We wanted to ask him about the specific challenges that might face someone like him with the reputation he has when it comes to music against the backdrop of increased scrutiny. What they're trying to say here is, look, this wasn't a setup. We weren't coming in here trying to just bash him. And so it says, as someone who has been fiercely anti-censorship throughout his career, has the shift necessitated a loss of creative freedom? How has he reconciled purposefully murky persona with a climate where brazen bad behavior just doesn't cut it anymore? Is he worried about being canceled? Could he be canceled? We didn't pluck the last two questions out of thin air. In April 2019, Manson's ex-partner, Evan Rachel Wood, appeared in front of the California State Senate Public Safety Committee as part of a videotape testimony like we just showed you. She talked about a relationship she had been in for several years with a man she met in her late teens. This wasn't the first time she had spoke about the abuse she had suffered during a previous relationship. In February 2018, she gave similar testimony to a House Judiciary subcommittee. It says Wood didn't name her accuser or abuser in either hearing, but some made the connection between the age she was when the abuse took place and her time with Manson. On Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, and more, people made accusations about him. And I can say that I've seen these posts that people have made online about Manson as well. So they added, we researched Wood's testimony and her links to Manson thoroughly. We wanted to know more. We wanted to know about what it was like from his point of view, too, how devastating it must be to be implicated in something like this if he had absolutely nothing to do with it. Manson had previously made violent on-the-record comments about Wood. We wanted to know if he regretted that, given how things had played out, or how it felt to hear her testimony. We were interested in hearing his side of the story. We asked, but we didn't get an answer. Marilyn Manson hung up on us as soon as we mentioned her name, and his people refused to give him any answer, any further questions, though they did provide us with a statement addressing 10 key questions that we wanted Manson to answer, which we will be publishing later this week. So why, to paraphrase the question posed to us by Manson's people, did Hammer a heavy metal magazine? So Marilyn Manson's people apparently asked Metal Hammer magazine why. This is them responding to this. It says, to paraphrase a question posed to us by Manson's people, why did Metal Hammer, a heavy metal magazine, feel the need to get involved with all of this? Well, we have one of the largest platforms of any rock or metal brand in the world. We encourage these ongoing efforts towards accountability within the music industry, and we're aware that providing artists with unquestioning support, particularly when there's legitimate reason to ask questions, undermines that no matter how much we like their music or like them in people. It's important to clarify that we are not accusing Marilyn Manson of anything. We just wanted to have a conversation about it. He refused. And you can read the full story in the new episode of Metal Hammer, the new edition rather. And I just want to make that clear as well, that I am not accusing Marilyn Manson of anything either. So folks, this is a challenging situation. She's making claims. Marilyn Manson is so far not publicly addressing him, though again, Metal Hammer does say that they have responses to these claims and they will be publishing them later this week. Of course, we'll be following the situation closely. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below, and thanks so much for joining us today at Rockfeed. Of course, again, if you're new here, please consider subscribing with notifications on so you don't miss out on breaking news and updates.